Hi, I'm Rosa Nguyen, reporting for YDN Multimedia. I'm here today with Governor Mitch Daniels, the 49th Governor of Indiana, and also the President-elect of Purdue University. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rosa.
So, Governor Daniels, I understand you were re-elected Governor of Indiana in 2008 with a stunning 18-point margin. What policies did you enact during your first term, would you say, were your most successful that contributed to your re-election?
Well, you'd have to ask my fellow citizens, and I think maybe each would have a different set of reasons, but I believe that at least many Hoosiers were affirming an activist administration that tackled Indiana's problems, many of which had been festering for a long time, and never made pretense to perfection, but was in motion every single day. A few specifics. I mean, we did transform a bankrupt state into a fiscally solvent state. We did it without raising taxes, the old-fashioned way. We spent less money than we took in. We rebuilt the infrastructure of Indiana, or at least had launched it at that point, through a creative transaction involving our toll road, which gave us billions of dollars to reinvest in roads we needed, bridges we needed or needed to rebuild, and the kind of investments we think will pay off economically for a long time. We shaped up state government, made it work more effectively for people. You come to our license branch, if you have to come at all, you'll be out in less than 10 minutes. And we cut and capped property taxes to the lowest levels in America, very important for the affordability of housing for young people or fixed income people, and also we hope an economic attraction. So I think these were among the things that people reacted to, but you'd have to ask them.
I understand that you also approved the Healthy Indiana Plan. What provisions did this plan provide and how did it help your state?
Thank you for noticing. Yes, like many states, we have, of course, a big Medicaid program, but we had many other citizens of modest means who didn't qualify for Medicaid but did not have health insurance. And in a bipartisan way, we did create something called the Healthy Indiana Plan, and it had two distinctive features that I do think were important. One was it was not an entitlement program. In other words, we raised the tax on tobacco to provide the money, but we did not expose the taxpayers of Indiana to an open-ended entitlement where anybody who met certain qualifications could sign up. It is first come, first serve. But it took a very large piece out of our uninsured problem. And the second feature is that I think it's more consistent with human dignity than the way we run Medicaid and Medicare and so forth. It's individual accounts, roughly speaking, health savings accounts. And low-income people put some of their money in, taxpayers put in more, but the person, the beneficiary, the participant, manages the funds, makes his or her own decisions. And we have learned, it's very interesting, we have learned what smart consumers people can be. I can tell you, don't try to tell me that low-income people can't make wise decisions for themselves, because by the thousands in Indiana they are.
Was this plan controversial in any way?
Yes, of course. You know, anything you do, any big change will be. We faced this over and over in many contexts, and certainly anything in healthcare. Some people took a while to adjust to the idea that you would empower low-income people to make their own healthcare choices. They preferred a more paternalistic system in which all these choices are made by wise folks in public capacities. But we, I think, at least persuaded a majority that this was a better way to proceed, and history, I think, has vindicated it.
I also understand that there have been some strife within your own political party regarding some of your fiscal beliefs, such as your willingness to raise taxes to rectify a budget deficit. Why has there been opposition toward such beliefs?
I wouldn't say there's been much, but we've been a very active. Ours has been a very active administration, and you must know, in a state that hadn't seen much of that, our state's personality, if you will, over much of its history has been to be very cautious, conservative, change averse. And so we've been a little different. And yes, it's true that some of the things that we have suggested were not unanimously popular in my own party, but they have seemed to win the support and encouragement of a very large majority of our fellow citizens, and it's very gratifying, actually, the large percentages of people in the other party or people from groups that don't ordinarily associate with Republicans who have found some merit in what we're doing.
So many of your policies that you did enact as governor made you eligible to run for a presidential candidate in 2012. What factors prevented you from running?
It was never anything I had thought of doing. Ultimately, I did think it over. I will tell you, and I've said this elsewhere, I'm not kissing up to Yale. One thing that moved me as much as any of the big shots or any of the influential people who encouraged me to run was a spontaneous movement that began here and eventually spread to 50-some campuses, as I recall, of young people who, for reasons best known to them, thought this was a good idea. I will say that caught my attention. Ultimately, I didn't do it for two reasons. One, my family was very negative on the idea, and our family is 5 women and me, so that gives you a sense of how powerful a coalition that would be. And secondly, I had always said that governor was the only office I was interested in. I wasn't on the make for anything else, and I really wanted to live up to that. And also, there were things we wanted to do and that would not have happened. We had a sweeping reform of education in Indiana in 2011. We became the first northern state to pass a right-to-work bill in 2012, and other achievements I could mention. And those things would not have happened, I guarantee, if I'd been running around America trying to get elected president.
The 2012 election proved that the Republican Party needs some reforms to its party platform. What would you change? Like, what changes do you think that the party needs to adopt to appeal to a younger, more liberal demographic?
Well, it's not at all clear that that's the central issue facing Republicans. I personally think that the campaign this year was there to be won. I do believe that the same policies, had they been more often framed and presented from the standpoint of young people. I mean, for instance, young people, whether at Yale or elsewhere in the country, are about to be handed a terrible situation. You know, forget student debt. The debts that your elders have piled up that you're going to be stuck with are grossly irresponsible. And I wish the campaign had been on this campus and others every possible chance talking about the injustice of that and about the need for generational fairness. For some reason that didn't happen too often. And likewise with the needs of those who we hope will rise in society. I believe in free markets and in the same general principles that Romney ran on, specifically because they are better for people at the bottom. But I don't think Republicans often enough present them that way.
I also understand that you'll be stepping aside from politics next year as many of the changes are taking place. So congratulations as your new position as president-elect of Purdue University. So what made you pursue that position?
Well, I didn't pursue it. It was the last thing on my mind. But people on the search committee and later on the trustees urged me to do it. They say that many Purdue stakeholders had suggested my name. And I did become excited about it. I was not planning to continue on in politics anyway. And higher education is such a valuable asset for this country. It's under pressure now, and it's under criticism that we haven't heard before. Are too many students going to college? Are they learning anything real while they're there? Is there what does a degree mean if everybody gets an A? How about this debt that people are piling up? Is online education going to undermine the entire mode that we've used for all these centuries? It's a very interesting time, and I think a very challenging time for most of higher ed. It may not touch Yale too much, but for most of the schools out there, time of great uncertainty. So I hope to, at one great university, make some contribution to successfully addressing those questions.
Thank you for coming here again and answering all of my questions. I'm Rosa Nguyen with YDN Multimedia, and thank you for listening.